This is a spot I've not painted before, but I am liking what I see. I could do a panorama in this direction. A lot of nice color in the water, so that's a possibility. If I look in this direction, it's just too bright, too much glare. So that looks like the only option. All right, this is gonna have to be really quick. Halo blue, ultramarine blue. I'm gonna try to keep my palette, well, I always try to keep my palette really simple. You know, it helps with just like, so you're not squeezing out a ton of paint. Got out my alizarin crimson. And yellow ochre here. Over the years, I've kind of come to the conclusion that less is more, for sure. Cadmium yellow medium. Wow, getting low on titanium white. And I'm on a painting trip too. So now it's kind of drying up. I think I will put out some cadmium yellow lemon. Definitely some dioxazine purple. So I'm going to be using liquid as my medium. I've got odorless mineral spirits in a brush washer, various brushes, but I think I'm going to be using this number 8 natural bristle. It's a Utrecht 209. I'm going to use that mostly. We already went over my palette. I've got extra liquid in here, extra mineral spirits here, and the wind is really starting to pick up. But because the sun is going down, there's a lot of beautiful colors in the waves because they're kind of starting to get backlit, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to do a voiceover because the soundtrack portion was unusable. There was so much wind that you couldn't even hear. I mean, there was a lot of wind noise and you couldn't hear me talking. So basically what I'm doing is the usual here, sketching out in burnt sienna, and I'm just playing around with the different elements I'm seeing. Here I've got the end of the cliffs right in the center, and I just noticed that, and then I decided to erase it and then experiment moving them over to the right. Ultimately I decided I don't like that either, and then wipe that out and move them over to the left. But basically what I'm doing is I'm sketching out, you know, mapping out the big shapes and then kind of walking back and just, you know, deciding whether I like what I'm seeing. Once I get, you know, things in the right place or where I like what I'm seeing, then I'll start establishing my darks. And I'll use ultramarine and alizarin crimson for that. So that's what I'm doing right here. And I like using ultramarine and alizarin because it is a transparent dark. I like to keep my darks transparent. So I'm just kind of establishing darks, and now I'm putting in the sky color, and I'm using a little bit of phthalo blue mixed with titanium white. And I like using phthalo blue. I mean, it's a very saturated color, so it can kind of get into everything if you're not careful. But I like how you can get a nice light blue with it because it's such a strong tint. For the water, typically I will use ultramarine, phthalo, and a little bit of burnt sienna to kind of lean it towards green, and then I'll add white, you know, for areas that are a little bit lighter. Here I'm putting in some emerald colors, or that sort of tropical color that I was seeing in the breaking waves, and I'm using phthalo and cadmium yellow lemon for that. And I'm just kind of experimenting, putting it in random places. Again, this is water, everything's moving, so the more random you are with your paint application, it seems like the more the better. There's some dull greens on the top of the cliffs, so I was kind of putting those in. I don't have to be exact with all these colors. You know, I just want to get the whole panel covered, and then I can start fine-tuning things. Along the bottom of the cliffs, right where it meets the water, oftentimes I've noticed this, it's sort of like almost a bluish gray. At least here in California with these reddish cliffs, the base of them are kind of this bluish gray. You can see I'm painting over the darks. So I've decided to mix up another dark mixture. This one's a little different. This has got ultramarine, burnt sienna, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. And I don't usually do this. Usually I'll establish my darks and leave them. But here I've kind of, I'm loading the brush and I'm kind of reestablishing the darks. I mean, I occasionally will do that, and I'm mopping it on. I love that term because that's really what it feels like. You're just, you get the brush loaded and then you just mop on the colors. And here I'm putting some dark blue at the base of the cliffs, which I noticed. I was seeing that. And then the sand, putting in some sand color, which is usually a mixture of yellow ochre and alizarin crimson and blue. Yeah, at the base of the waves there, I used some dioxazine purple, and now I'm using some blue to, suggest the wet sand, which is reflecting the sky. But that dioxazine purple at the base of the waves is kind of, that's the white water. When the white water is breaking, and late in the day, the sun is only hitting the tops of the white water. So oh, okay, I'm going to show you my palette. Just wanted to show you what it looks like and how much paint I'm using. So then with the white water on the tops, at first I'll go in with white with dioxazine purple. And then later I will go over the white. That can be either like the white water or the tops of the breaking waves or whatever. First I'll go in with the white with dioxazine purple, and then later I'll come in with titanium white with a little bit of cadmium yellow lemon, or sometimes cadmium yellow medium, but I prefer the lemon usually. It gets more of a punch to it. Now I'm just mopping in more of the lights. I notice up in the distance here that it's way too dark. The water's too dark. Load the brush, and I'm kind of mixing a little bit. So some areas I'm kind of laying the paint on top, and then other areas I'm actually mixing it to lighten the paint. I need to use a straight edge on those horizons. It's so difficult. Anyway, just wrapping it up here. Okay, sun is going down. I'm going to leave it right here. I don't want to overwork this. Let me see if I can show you. There's a lot of interesting things going on in the paint. As I said, I was after like kind of this illumination in the wave. Oh, that's a little sharp. I'll kind of knock that down. And yeah, interesting shadow patterns in the white water. All right, so when that sun goes down, it gets cold out here, especially because it's so windy. But this was a great time, and I think I did this in just over an hour, and I think that the time constraints actually were beneficial, forced me to make some quick decisions. I was really mopping the paint on there, and like I said, I think that's a good thing. So I will take this home, live with it, and I will do a full analysis on my Patreon channel. There's a link down below. It's the Patreon support that keeps me making these videos. So if you want to pitch in and support, there is a link down below. Also, I've got a bunch of other videos on there talking about art and painting related stuff. So check it out. Other than that, have a good one, stay creative, and I'll see you guys in the next video.